Welcome to the People's Guild with me, Wascal, and my co-host, B Jangles.
We're a couple of Splinterlanders that love exploring all things Pretoria with a wide variety of guests from all across the community and Splinterlands universe.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, another wonderful guest. Today we are privileged to sit down with one of the, I dare say, founding fathers of TeamPH. He's, as far as I know, a unique proprietor in that he offers goods and services for DEC, tangible goods and services. And yeah, we're very excited to sit down with him. We reached out. We spoke with and had Damian Wolf on, one of his counterparts, on a few weeks ago, and this kind of spurred the dominoes to start toppling to this guest that we're bringing you to you guys today. We've got Mangomayhem. Welcome to the show, Mango. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's indeed a pleasure. Good morning from the Philippines. It's 9 a.m. I've got a coffee in my hand. I'm already looking at my Peak D articles, and I'm having a conversation with you two fine gentlemen. So, yeah, TeamPH #1, baby.
Oh man, it's great to have you. Just like reading and speaking to you in Discord, I feel this is, we've got so much to kind of talk about, and one of the main reasons we love Splinterlands is community, and the community that you guys are fostering in the Philippines is you're just knocking out the park. And I think for our audience to hear, it's going to be very inspirational for sure. But before we get onto that, I feel like we have to kind of go back a little bit. For the viewers, listeners out there, you're originally from dear old land and town, and I'd like to kind of just find out a little bit more about your time back in London, because I think it's definitely made you the boy that you are. So could you tell us a little bit about your kind of time back in London and the things you were getting up to back there, or maybe not all of them?
Yeah, I was almost about to say to you, I was like, do you want me to kind of sense this? No, born and bred in England. Obviously, I'm a 1984, so the best year in the world. Lived in a place called Morden, which is in South London, so I'm a Londoner. Great experience. I mean, I loved it. Both my parents are Filipino, which is a great story because they actually met in the UK. They both had separate dates, both foreign, but then they actually met up in a party, and they were like, hey, let's hook up. And then, then I came, and that was the blessing that they received. So, I studied there, I graduated there, I worked there. My whole working experience was pretty much in England before moving to the Philippines. When was it? 2017, I moved to the Philippines. But I was always here for holidays and stuff, so I never really lost base with my kind of Filipino culture and traditions, which is, I think it's a good thing. I think it's kind of the way I like to describe it is I've actually managed to accumulate the best of both worlds. So, I've experienced a lot of the modern tech era. I really have had the benefits of being in a first world or, a first world nation. We discussed healthcare and stuff like that as one of the big things, which is something that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that, the Philippines needs to work on, stuff like that. But, best of both worlds, there's advantages and disadvantages to both, but then you've always got to keep that kind of positivity on, whatever you can accumulate, because you only live once, if that makes sense. Yeah. See, I can cut out a lot of the story without talking my naughty thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I appreciate you keeping it as PG as possible for the listeners out there, Mango.
Yeah, that's how we do.
So what was it? We're a collective group of expats here. I think something different drew us to this part of the world. Collective expats in Asia, I might say, a few hours from each other. So I know you've got roots in the Philippines, and you mentioned that you had kind of kept ties throughout your upbringing with the Philippines. Does that mean when you finally made the move, did you move into like family neighborhood? Are you surrounded by aunties, uncles, cousins, grandparents? What was that move back like? And are you in the homeland, so to speak?
Right. Well, let me tell you, I'm in a province called Samar, and in a city called Cabayog City. And let me tell you, before this was a jungle. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that kind of situation. But it's scary. It's scary when you get everything kind of taken away, like, all the things that you used to. I didn't have a great internet connection back then. It was kind of like data. So I don't know, in Taiwan, you guys have got data, right, for the cell phones. So imagine having just data and that's it. So you couldn't really do too much. My family, let me tell you a little story about my family. Most of my relatives from my mum's side, my mum is from Manila. So she's from Pateros, Manila. So, my dad's side is all from Calbayog. And let me tell you, the relatives don't talk. They're not really, it's not that kind of family. Of course, I had my little, my few aunties and uncles that I talked to, but literally where I moved, it was like quite desolate in the beginning. It's quite a small population. Don't tell me, I won't quote you on the numbers and stuff, but it's pretty small. And it was very underdeveloped, as they say. When I moved here, there wasn't much going on. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, the only way I can explain the land that I jumped on is kind of like a jungle, because it was just like all, big coconut trees and grasslands and stuff like that. So there was very much, very little work done. We had a holiday home, which was great. Dad built a holiday home in 2024. Oh, sorry, 2004. He built the holiday home, and yeah, about that's it. That's all that was here. So we had a car. Yeah. Well, it's a holiday home. It's like just going to a place that you don't really want to spend too long.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I can maximum. I could do this. I could talk about all the peace and prosperity and all this and beautiful scenery. But then when you're missing all your gadgets or your internet or just certain creature comforts. When you miss them, and then you're kind of like, ooh, 4 days is enough for me. Then I'll get back into the real world. But
So,
my journey.
how long would you go there for when you were younger?
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I used to come to the Philippines for about 3 to 4 weeks, right? 3 weeks, depending on how much holiday I could take from the UK. All right. So let's say I came for 3 weeks. I'd spend literally where I am right now, I'd probably spend about 4 days. Okay. The rest of the time I'll spend in Manila. Right. Because, obviously we got to be a bit PG. So, but, I spent my time in clubs and stuff like that. So, in restaurants, and I was a night owl. I enjoyed the music scene. That's just how we roll. So, yeah. But when I'd come to Calbayog, it would literally be 4 days. I'll just wait for the plane. Like because the flight wasn't every day, so you'd just wait for the flight. So like if I had arrived there on a Monday, then hopefully there was a flight out going on the Thursday, and I'll jump on that and go straight back to Manila, man. Like, and then I preferred it in Manila because there's more stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of restaurants to eat in. Plus actual relatives that I'd talk to and stuff like that. There's a couple, but not many. I'm usually that kind of guy that just likes to go on my own and make friends outside, as they say.
Like,
Cool.
I always hear negative, not always, but I do hear negative things about Manila, about like the safety aspects of it. Like, how do you find it? Or was like being Filipino yourself, was it not something that you would notice?
I don't think what my parents always told me, they were like, be careful whenever I go out. But I was at that stage where I feel like I'm built of iron. You know what I mean? So I go out on kind of on the premise that I can take care of myself. Being born in England, it's not easy. Well, it wasn't easy. You kind of like gotta, you get as good as you give as good as you get, as they say. You know what I mean? So coming over here, it's different. It was easier because I understood the language. I can speak the language, but I still have a British accent when I speak the language. All right. So that's one thing I'm really thankful for my parents, because they still, obviously spoke Tagalog to me and, at home, in in England. So I still managed to understand. So no one could tell, no one could kind of like do me wrong in terms of a taxi driver or stuff like that. Because I'd usually use a taxi. I don't want my relatives to know where I'm going, so I'd get in taxis. And then there was one time, they tried to take me to some dodgy places. I was like, listen, dude, I'll break you, and then you better take me to the right place. So, and as long as you can speak the basic language, you're good. But it's a lot different now. Back then when I was coming on holidays, there's more opportunities. They knew they can easily identify if you're a foreigner. Like even if I'm a Filipino, I'm a foreigner because I still have British pounds compared to peso. You know what I mean? So but now it's changed very much. And for me, like I said, I was never in that frame of mind that I'd be scared to travel in my own country. I was always proud to be Filipino. I've always been proud because there's something that's been instilled in me. But then also I'm also I was confident in myself and my ability. So as long as you're careful, I think you're fine. But I think it goes for the whole world. I had a lot of problems in England too. Do you know what I mean? So it really depends, where you are and what time of day it is and how drunk people are and yeah. I think it's the same everywhere.
Can you give us a little bit of the lay of the land, Mango? I'm looking at the map and I see Calbayog, and for those that don't know, the Philippines is a massive island nation of many islands. I think you guys clock some absurd 4-digit number of islands, if I'm not mistaken. But Samar is a good distance from Manila. Is Calbayog the biggest town? Like, is that where you fly into when you're getting there? Do you get there by paddle boat? What's the commute between Manila and Calbayog look like?
You could get you've got different ways of getting here, right? So you could take a bus. The bus used to take about 17 hours because you've got to cross you've got to cross a port, and then go by boat, by ferry across and stuff like that. That's one way you can do it. Back in the day, it took 24 hours. So it was a 24-hour journey. Now they've kind of reduced the time to 17 hours. You could take a plane. So from Manila to Calbayog is an hour. Okay, so it's an hour 15 minutes. So later I'll be picking up my mum because she's coming back from Manila. So, but yeah, it's about an hour, 15 minutes. You get on this little propeller operated plane, which is quite scary if you're a larger man. Yeah, that's the way you can do it. Yeah, those are the two ways that you can do it. So basically by coach / ferry or by plane. Yeah, it is pretty big. I mean, Calbayog has its own airport. It's got a really nice airport now, actually. It was just put in a couple of years ago. So, they've expanded it and they're looking to make it bigger so that we can start taking in Airbuses and stuff like that. So cool. It's for me, it's not yet classified as the capital of Samar, but I know that the government was trying to make this the capital of Samar. We've got a lot of things here now. Airports, hospitals. What else is important? Water district, I guess. We've got the utilities kind of like down. We've got shopping malls here now. So I mean, I wouldn't say they're to the standard of Manila, but I mean, yeah, we've got shopping malls. There's a lot and decent restaurants like mine. Mango, you can get food, So yeah.
Hey, so you mentioned that it was like a jungle around there. So what was the cause for it to kind of have that such a dramatic change, and like how did like the local people take it at the time? That because I can imagine that seems quite quick from what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, the transition was crazy over here. I mean, like I said, most of the people, well, I never said, but a lot of the people here in Calbayog were farmer based. Okay, so it's farmland. Okay, so there's a lot of land which is used for like a palay, which is rice, rice plantations. What's the other thing that they do? The coconuts and stuff. They use that as copra, and things like that. But there was a recent boom, and this was probably down to the government. I don't really get too much into politics because it's safer in as a businessman not to be in any political kind of like allegiance. So but the former the former regime, they one of the guys was very Americanized. He's a wealthy Filipino, and what he did was he really tried to encourage growth within the city by having a lot of job opportunities, new things that's different compared to the rest of Samar. Like rest of Samar was stuck in kind of like old school, kind of like I refer it sometimes as medieval. You know what I mean? Because like it's so simple, but then it can be so effective at the same time. You know, um, can you close the door? But with all of that stuff, sorry, train of thought. My dogs are going mental downstairs. Sorry, it's morning thing. So,
Okay.
where was I? So yeah, in
Medieval.
terms of in terms of the development, I think it really came from the aspect of the government who was currently in power. They really try to put stuff in like the airport and things like that. So that's really what kind of spruced everything. And plus a lot of expats and expat
Mm.
Filipinos started coming over and investing a lot of money into this particular region, so into Calbayo. So I think that's always where we look for the cause of development. A lot of before there was a time when you would only see like one car. You see this really nice road and one car going down it. Now you see cars everywhere. You've got the Toyotas and you've got the Nissans. The big ass. The big kind of um, companies all based here now. So yeah, it's really gone up. It's improved very much.
Why you mentioned this before about it's not advisable as a businessman to have any political allegiance. Why is that? Are you privy
Yeah,
to?
I'm probably privy. Well, actually, you know what? I think it's best if I abstain from that comment. But what I
Okay.
would do is research Calbayog, yeah, right? Our Calbayog and politics, right? And then that way you can kind of like get a kind of gist of how things roll over here. But
Okay,
yeah,
man.
you take a
Yeah, no,
region.
I understand.
I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same in Taiwan, but it's a fun time. Well, it's not really fun for me, but it's a fun time over here in the sense. Like when
I would
it's really a
say in
story.
Taiwan, maybe Ben would know this as well. I would say it's in your interest to. I don't know. I would just say whoever is in party, it would be in your interest to kind of you know speak to them
Yeah,
as much as you can.
here it's more of a sense where be friends with everybody, make
Yeah.
nobody an enemy. And like I said, I'll use the word again, medieval. So if you consider medieval ways of handling business, then that's probably after you've read the articles, let's have a conversation on Discord. Then you can ask me anything over Discord, and I'll just tell you. Oh man, you know what? It's such a man. It's like an adventure living out like in a place like this, and that's probably why I like it so much because like in England it's just like, oh, you work, you sleep, you work, sleep again, stuff like that. But over here, you've got really actual stories to tell. So if someone wants to really find out about something, and then you kind of got that in your mind now, you're like, interesting. So yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much the summarization of Calbayog City. If there's any more questions, just let me know, and I'll try my best to answer it. But
Yeah,
sipping on my cup.
that's great, man. I am curious. In hindsight, you moved to the Philippines at a very interesting time. Within a couple of years of your arrival, the pandemic struck. I know, the Philippines enforced a pretty strict lockdown, and I've seen some of Level Up Life stuff talking about the decimation of local business, and yeah, if correct me if I'm wrong, Mango, but Level Up Life is also in Calbayog, so it was his business that was kind of subject to said decimation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Level Up Life. He's a 40-year-old um, American, which is young, pretty young. He came here, he married here, he's got kids here. He tried his bit. He went into the business scene, and at that time when the pandemic hit, I mean, his business, same as mine, was thriving. Here in Calbayog, there's not a lot to do. So when you've got a bar or you've got somewhere that you can, people can kind of hang out and stuff like that. I mean, it's a nice business. You're making money every day. But yeah, I mean, like mine, his business was hit, and businesses kind of like went really downhill, a lot of my friends closed their businesses simply because they couldn't afford. And the lockdowns and liquor bans and curfews and pretty much almost martial law was deployed here. So it was. So what ended up happening is there's no money coming in, but your utility bills, they're not doing anything to help you there. So they're building up, and you got bills to pay. What do you do? That was the situation. And then Level Up was lucky. He founded like the kind of like online scene. You know what I mean? He got really big into cryptocurrency. I mean, he's always been into crypto, but I think he was okay. That's how he got over the kind of pandemic. You know what I mean? Or got through it, was through online interaction, streaming, playing. I don't think playing Splinterlands, but definitely doing something towards the investment aspect. And that's how. I mean, Splinterlands for me. I'll be honest with you. It didn't get me through the feelings of pandemic, but what it did get me through was things like, for example, when my father passed away. Like that was something that like games always had an ability to distract me from some of the real world challenges that you face. And yeah, I mean, Splinterlands helped me, and that's why I'll support this for a very, very long time. That's just that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, but like I said, businesses were closing everywhere. My business stayed afloat because actually I'm supported by the expat community here in Caballo. So a lot of the Americans, they're all my friends over here. They like my food. They like conversation with a Brit. I don't know why, because all I do is smash them every day. I'm the Gordon Ramsay of the Philippines, man. You don't mess around. Like they'll do something like this. They'll say to me, "Oh yeah, you should make something really creative." I'm like what? And it's a burger. And I'm like, dude, you're such a simpleton. What are you talking about? Don't you know what quality gourmet is? And then when I release something gourmet, and they're like, "Oh, that's all right." I said, "What do you mean it's all right? Do you know what's in that, man? Do you?" Anyway, but like a lot of my friends, my really, really good friends are expats over here, American expats. One of them is actually, well, two of them. Or Level Up he's very quiet. He's a different kind of guy. He doesn't really talk too much, but he talks to online, but in actual person, he's a little bit more of an introvert. But Mernmin, he's another one of the investors. He's an American dude, and he's a bit of a bourgeois. He's from, was it New Hamptons or something like that? I don't know, some rich area in the US, I guess. But he's always a fun time to talk about, and he does a lot to help the community as well. So, but yeah, I hope that answered the question. Yeah, if you need any more,
that's great, man. I do want to touch on, we've had a couple of guests on that have referenced the power of Splinterlands and in effect the Splinterlands community as being what has helped various people throughout the community that we've spoken to kind of persevere through very challenging times in their own lives. And yeah, video games are a fantastic escape for, just unwinding after work or hopping online and, hammering out some Call of Duty or whatever. But Splinterlands, the community it's a very next level thing, I feel like. And the fact that you touch on that, is that one of the big components that you're referencing in terms of Splinterlands kind of powering you through the difficult times? Is it the community and the support and the camaraderie? And
I think during the pandemic that was the beginning of TeamPH. So it was restrictions were still in place, but then we used my restaurant / bar as the outlet to kind of like get groups of people together. Like I said, there was a lack of funding out here in Splinterlands. Like what would happen is I would take on a scholar, right? And I'd pay them in peso. Because at that time, like I had utilized like Splinterlands in terms of building or accumulating my kind of like crypto side of my money. You know what I mean? Because I had no, I was very new before Splinterlands. I didn't really mess around with any kind of cryptocurrency. It was only Level Up. Like Level Up gave me a conversation about Bitcoin. I almost fell asleep on a table. I found it so boring. something interesting. It's like, dude, you're like talking stock exchange to me. I mean, there's a reason I'm not into that as well, you know. But then when he said to me, "Oh, there's a game," I was like, "What game?" You know, that's the way to every Filipino. You tell them there's a game. Okay, what kind of game? That's going to be the question back. And then it's like, "Oh, it's a card game." Oh, card game. Oh, it's like Magic. Hmm. You know, that's the way to get anyone involved. You know, any Filipino, I'd say, is just mention you've got a game and it's a competitive game. And it's, I don't know, for me, cards, first person shooters, anything like that. I mean, you've got my attention, you know, beat 'em ups, you know, like Street Fighter, like there's stuff like that. You've got me, man. I'll at least spend the whole day playing the game, you know. Splinterlands started like that. I played the whole night, man. I literally downloaded it on my phone because the app was available to download. So you download it on your phone. I bought a $10, I think it was $10. Yeah, $10 spell book. And then Level Up delegated me some cards, some really good cards, but level one. So singular BCX cards. I grinded that for the whole night. I got to gold. And then I messaged him like at night and I was like, dude, send me more power. What's this power? You know, I don't understand this power thing, but I need more cards. Send them over. You don't really have a choice. Send them over. And then, yeah, and that was the journey, man. And then I started investing money and yeah, just grew from one thing. Like it was supposed to just be one deck, and then it ended up being seven. I don't know why. I just like opening packs, I guess. An addiction, man. I think
Oh,
that's
kudos to the team. It's such a satisfying experience, man. It's like, as you know, I remember the excitement of cracking open Magic the Gathering packs back in the day,
yeah, like
and
that.
it's
Yeah.
like the feel of the new cards and the excitement of like pulling them out and flipping them over one at a time. And yeah, they did a really spot on job with kind of, you know, transitioning to the digital world of, you know, especially when you see that shake, it's like, you know, that excitement just that shake vibrates through you, man. It's good stuff.
And there was a time I went through opening Untamed Packs. They were at $80. Back then, they were at $80 per pack. And I was buying them and I was opening them up and I was just like, there's nothing shaking. And I didn't know, because I didn't know that you could scroll over them and look at the colors around the borders and that would tell you what kind of card it was, right? So it was really exciting. You're just opening each and every card. When it went down to $30, I went absolutely ham. I started buying like Untamed Packs like crazy because, you know, it's the edition I missed. You know, I got in during Chaos. So, you know, you know, I got in before Chaos, but then that was when the cards were like stupid, like a Cron one singular B6 was like $500 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I was actually going to buy them, and then Level Up stopped me. He was like, don't buy them. I was like, why? He goes, look, I'll delegate you these for now, but then wait for Chaos Legion. I was like, okay. How much are the packs? $4 a pack. Okay, $500. How many packs can that get me? You know? And then after that, yeah, I mean, there was a time I went ham. I just picked up as many Untamed as I could. I got a gold foil Chantius the Great. And then I was like, back then he was like valued at about $1,500 or something like that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sell this, you know. I don't need this. I don't use these low level cards, those heathens, you know. I don't use these low level cards. So I was gonna sell it, but then I don't know, some part of me said, no, don't sell it, just keep it. And I've still got it to this day. I just put it in one of my silver accounts and just keep it there for now. It's just like sentimental values, you know. So yeah,
it's crazy how often gathering the magic gets mentioned in the community. I think I probably butchered that name as well. I don't know, because I wasn't even I didn't even hear about it until recent times. So yeah, I'm interested. Like you were playing it back home in London as well, right? And you mentioned you went to America. So like, were you pretty? You must have been a pretty good player, right?
I was all right. Yeah, I wasn't ranked or anything. I started my kind of like magic thing in college because what happened was my brother was into it, so he was into all the card games, and then like I played everything like Star Trek, Star Wars, um, Legend of the Five Rings. I know it's got a funny name now, thinking about it. Jihad, Vampire, you know, but Magic the Gathering was the one that really it makes you think, you know. And when you beat someone, sorry, when you decimate somebody, you know, in a Magic the Gathering game, that's that's when you know, you really, you know, I used to play I used to play against myself in the mirror using two decks, like testing out different style decks, you know. Dude, there's no one else to play. My brother wouldn't play me, you know. Every time my brother played me, he'd get mad. You know, it was that kind of situation. So I was just like, frigs, I'll just play against myself. At least I'm not going to get like a mug, like a tea mug thrown at me or something like that, you know. So, you know, but yeah, in Magic, the good thing about Magic is that the thing that you can do with it, like you build specific decks in accordance to your style of gameplay, or because every it's like every splinter, right? So every so I don't even know the names anymore, but every color has their own little style, like their own thing. Like for example, I remember fire or the red cards would have very, very strong damage. You know, DPS was crazy. Okay, but then you would have life, you know, like white, you know, life, which would be all like protection cards and sustainability cards and stuff like that. So what I feel has happened is that, you know, Matt and Agro have taken this game and digitized it in a sense where it's simpler to understand, because Magic is not easy to get into. I mean, it's either you love it or you hate it, you know. But you know, if you look at the strategies that you know that you use in Magic, and then you compare them to kind of like the metas that you use in Splinterlands, they're very, very similar. Like I was talking about sustain, like that's I mean, if you're into the whole Splinterlands lingua, you know, you'll hear the words meta and you'll hear the words sustain, resu, all these things. These are all different strats, but these are, for me personally, I feel that they've taken that from Magic the Gathering, you know, because that's where it originally started, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I can't tell you how the founders think, but that's what's keeping guys in probably my generation, or even those, you know, like my brother's 81, so his generation, you know, that's what's kind of like, I think this game isn't made for kids. I think kids would not enjoy this game. I think people that actually you know, have developed and are looking for a little bit more of a challenge get into Splinterlands. You know, I think tower defense is going to take off because that's for the kiddies. You know, that's for the people that aren't really competitive. You know, because you've got those different types of people. You've got competitive players, and you've got those that are just like, oh, I like PVE. I like to play the single player mode. I don't like to be sociable. I don't like to have confrontations. You know, and I feel that Splinterlands is going into that aspect as well. You know, yeah, but Jangles, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. So I heard you saying that, and I think I heard the British accent most heavy on that little high voice.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, man. So in your kind of progression of gaming, did you go from Magic the Gathering, the traditional tabletop game, to Arena, to Splinterlands? So like was the progression to the digital platform and then jumping to Splinterlands, or was it directly from the card game, tabletop game, to Splinterlands?
No, I was all about tabletop, man. I used to play like face to face. Like I said, I like crushing my opponents and I like seeing them. But then those, you know, those Chinese guys in the US, you know, they're different kind of beasts. You know what I mean? But you know, I like to sit, because we had these things in school as well. I don't know if you had them as well, but you have these little like games clubs and stuff where like all the people would come, and then they'll you know, and then you'd play antes for cards. You know, I used to do stuff like that. Like I'd put up a card. I'll say, oh yeah, put up your Shivan Dragon.
Oh, I'm so happy that you just said that, dude. So my entrance into Magic the Gathering, my good buddy, the Shivan Dragon, was his favorite card. And it slowly became mine because I you know, he was the one that introduced me, and it was like his strategy that initially influenced me. And I have very fond memories of kind of my peak in Magic the Gathering of convincing him that he had a good shot of beating me, and convincing him to ante his Shivan Dragon, and I won. So that was my first copy of the Shivan.
And I took cards. Dude, I think I had about 10 Shivan Dragons, something like that. Because I went on a craze where, like, you know, I really liked the card. I thought it looked, you know, it was a really decent looking card. Same with the what were they called? The Sarah Angels or something like that. I think it was something like that. there was a lot of decent cards that I'd buy. I'd buy from comics book stores and I'd win them from antis. Like there would be specific cards. You wouldn't just go for any randomized cards, you know, you'd go for specific ones that are skillful, you know, or something that's worth a bit of money. Um, yeah, there were just specific cards that I liked. And Ice Age, when Ice Age came out, it was one of the oh,
Yep, Sarah Angel.
you guys still hear me? Oh yeah, okay, you're sharing your screen.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's
Yeah,
the
so
one.
when you know, yeah, dude, Sarah Angel, I had a lot. I had the original copies, you know, the first edition ones. The yeah, I had those ones because I would go on a hunting spree for these cards. Like there would be specific cards that I wanted, like Sengir vampires and what else did I go for? That lightning bolts, because lightning bolts were like beast. If you have lightning bolts in your deck, it's just GG, you know. Specific cards, and I would build these decks, and then yeah, anti all day. I'd anti on anything. Like I'd anti in Star Trek. You know, I remember getting a commander data from one guy, and he started crying, and I gave it back. I felt really bad. I was like, I took his data. That was one of the rarest cards, you know. And he started crying, man. I started laughing at him at first, and then I was like, oh shoot, I feel bad, man. So I kind of like said, oh, I'll take something else instead. But yeah, I was one of those people. I like the competition. I like the drive. I'm not going to say I like making people cry, although that would be a lie. Um, yeah, but I was very competitive when I was younger, like especially in card games. Yeah, card games was well, actually, I was competitive in everything, whether it's billiards, whether it's anything, basketball, boxing, whatever, man. I'm just competitive in general, you know. So
Oh, it's good to have
yeah,
a.
and
It's
then I
good to
kept,
have a competitive.
yeah.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
met, like you got into Splinterlands, and then you've got this bar in the Philippines,
yeah.
the Mango Lounge in the States, right? And so, how did you, or can you talk us through like how you started to kind of use your bar as this meeting place for Splinterlands?
Sure, sure. It was pandemic, so you got to imagine, like, you know, places are kind of empty, you know. And so I actually, before it became a Splinterlands thing, I actually set up a gym in there. it was that time when like it was really empty. You weren't allowed people in the bar, man. You weren't allowed to take people in. There was liquor bans and stuff, you know. And it was like it started getting a little bit easy, you know. They started to lighten the restrictions, but the problem is the people were still scared to come out the house, you know. And when Splinterlands started, Splinterlands was like a way that Filipinos could make money, and that's how Level Up kind of like put it towards me. You know, I mean, I wasn't looking to make money out of it. I was more to do with the aspect of the game. But you see, my employees at the time, so I had construction employees that were out of the job. That I would basically give them food and stuff. You know, I'd buy them like rice sacks and stuff because you know that's how it is here. It's quite clannish. So if they're within your kind of community, then you kind of take care of them. You know. So, you know, my employees, I wanted to keep them in the job. I mean, that's something that the expats helped me with because they would always order, you know, food for delivery purposes if they couldn't eat in the bar, you know, and my guys would have work, you know. Um, this game offered Filipinos, I mean, there were actually a few people that played it in Calbio. We just didn't know who they were. And then what happened is when we put posts out on social media like Facebook is quite big here. Um, we started attracting a lot of attention. They're like, "Oh, you play Splinterlands? We play Splinterlands too." And then after that, we are just like, "Okay, well, let's do a tournament." You know, that was kind of like the thing that I like. I like the competitiveness of things, but like I said, I like to see people when you beat them. I don't like to. I mean, it's great. I can never see the reaction of someone I beat in ranked. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't talk to them. You can't talk trash. Secondly, you know, you can't see them, you know, face to face. You know, but here in, you know, at Mango, you could. We'd put it on the big TV. So I had a 70-inch TV and would play it in the bar. We invited people to come over. At first, it was about 25 people that came. So it was about 25 people. Then we started introducing it to like really, you know, people that could afford to buy assets and stuff like that. So we would introduce them. And then, you know, like my employees, all five of them were playing Splinterlands. So I had five people in the bar. They all started playing Splinterlands. That's why I have 7 decks because I built them each a deck. And then, you know, and that's how it started, you know, that. And yeah, the bar was just really awesome. That's how we got the attention of Aggro actually, because Level Up posted it in the Mavericks group about our first event, and you know, it was cool. There was a lot of people there. There was a lot of shouting. Someone, you know, very competitive. I don't know if you know Filipinos. Filipinos are very competitive, very loud, and just in general have a good time. You know, I can't just say it's just Filipinos, but in my experience, it was all Filipinos just having a great time. And during a pandemic, to have a great time, I mean, come on, that's a
Oh, it's
win-win.
priceless, man. Priceless.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing feeling. You know, it wasn't an event to make money on. I mean, it was more like, you know, just to get new people to play the game. You know, I didn't think that we'd be in touch with Agrod and his marketing team like Chada and stuff like that. I wouldn't feel that I would have any connection with them later down the line. But we did get noticed from the first event, and you know, I'd like to say I think it's the first event that was ever held in Splinterlands. So live event, you know what I mean? It was the first live event, and everybody in the Mavs group, because I wasn't yet a Mav, I didn't have all those packs then, but Level Up shared with me the Discord chat from Mavs, and it was crazy, man. Everyone was like, "Whoa, man, I love what you're doing out there," you know, all that stuff. So you know, then we started it every month, kind of thing. So and then you know, Chad had started giving some giveaways. He gave away his first giveaway to my community was a beta pack. And then when they opened the beta pack, he got a gold foil clay golem. And we caught it on camera. Yeah, we caught it on camera, dude. Like this is when you hear like we started already having squads. So we had like the Mango team, which was my employees, right? So they all had my cards, and then you had other factions that were inside. You know, they were like battling, and you could hear the like if you hear the previous the war videos, right? They're shouting at each other. They're not friendly cursing, competitive cursing. You know what I mean? And it was really it's really like a tournament environment, and that was really what was so cool during this pandemic time. Imagine having people like a packed out bar during a pandemic. Okay, fine, I'm not making money on anything besides beer, because Filipinos like to drink beer. And yeah, it was just crazy. And getting giveaways from Chatter, you know, Chatter hooked me up. You know, he gave me a lot of chaos packs to give away to the community. They helped us with, you know, obviously the beta pack, spell books, you know, so I enrolled a lot of people with free spell books, which was great.
Wow.
And, you know, they're always just there. If probably if I just mention, hey, I'm going to hold another event, which I am, we're holding one for my birthday in April. So, but yeah, you know, it's been a very, very cool journey. The way like our journey started is really cool. Like definitely a storytelling thing.
Yeah. Oh no, mate, it sounds amazing. Even I'm not there, but I can just imagine the, you know, the shouting that was going on, the cheering, and just like, you know, just watching people crush each other. But like, is it something that you guys are going to do, like live stream it? Because I think if people saw that like live,
yeah,
you
we
did.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did all that. I even interviewed the winner. I'm going to send you the videos later so you can have a look. That was all my like, you know, honestly, it was keeping me away. It was a big distraction from the pandemic thing. And when I say I get into something, I really get into something. Like I you know, there's no beating around the bush. You know, I've got 5,750 chaos packs in game. So that's not to mention all the ones from the secondary market, you know, and you know, it's just a journey you follow, man. It's like, you know, you're chasing this journey, and it's an expensive journey, but it's worth it at the end. Well, you thought it would be worth it at the end, but you know, like I said, I take my pleasure in getting to Champ League, and I take my pleasure in you know, making like my employees now, they have savings in terms of assets and liquidity pools, you know, stuff like that. You know, you help them on their journey to get a little bit. You know, you just tell them the way and just say, look, if you put your money in here, like one guy, he's got like 2,000 SPS. It's not that much, but it's 2,000 SPS in the equivalent in DEC and the liquidity pool. So every day he's getting SPS. The other guy's staking, you know, and he's got, you know, let's say he's got about 5,000 to 6,000 SPS. And you ain't doing nothing for that. You're literally just putting it in a savings account, and it's better than putting it in a bank. You're making more money than putting it in a bank. you know? So you're setting up the Filipino to win. And that's where TeamPH takes off. TeamPH is like, we're going to give you the tools for you to win. Okay, there's so many restrictions right now. Like Filipinos rent cards, it's given. Okay, but they maximize those cards. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that Filipinos are extracting. They're not extracting if they rent cards. Okay, they're just getting what they want. You know, they're getting what they deserve, and then doing. You know, they're probably selling those assets back in the day, selling those aspects to put the money back into the game so they could rent again. You know, so extraction is one of the words that I heard a lot from people that was, oh, why are you supporting that community? They just distract. Number one, I'm a Filipino. Who are you? Secondly, Filipinos are a very good, force in this game, and it needs to be recognized. You know, most of the top end players, or who you think are top end players that never showed up in Splinterfest, are being played by Filipinos. That's why they didn't play in Splinterfest. You know, that was before the bot. You know, okay, there are a lot of botters out there, and we know they've been exposed now. But to be honest, some of the main guys with great accounts are all being played by Filipino scholars. But you never hear the Filipino. You never hear about that. Never. But you always see those names on the leaderboards. So I won't expose anyone on here right now, but it's not like I'm going to call anybody out. But what I do think is that you should mention that you have a Filipino scholar and give them the recognition they deserve. So yeah, that's just the way I feel. See, that's
I love
I'm sorry, man.
No. It's great, man. I love that you're sharing this stuff, and it really highlights the passion that you feel for this game, for your community, for you respecting your heritage and wanting to perpetuate prosperity in the motherland, man. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I'm really curious, man. So we talked with Damian Wolf, like I mentioned, I guess about a month ago, and he was saying kind of the specific, I guess, slogan is a kilo of rice a day. And that's something that really resonated with me for a couple of reasons. One, it's an achievable goal. The TeamPH kind of mantra is not Splinterlands is going to make you rich, but it can change your life. If Splinterlands can afford you an extra kilo of rice a day, it's an achievable goal, and it's attainable. It's immediately attainable. How has that how does that, as an outsider and hearing this story, it's a very powerful story. And I love that you guys are kind of putting forth this attainable goal. It doesn't feel scammy. It doesn't feel like you guys are trying to pull the wool over folks' eyes. It's very reasonable, and it's very practical. And I hear you on the extraction. It's what do you do after you extract that assets? Do you pump it right back into the system and kind of further, expand upon your ability to earn more, which it sounds like what TeamPH is doing, and more power to you guys for doing so. But that kilo of rice mantra, how did that kind of come about, and is it as powerful in the local community as it seems like it is on the surface for an outsider like me?
Yeah, actually, Level Up is the person that actually made that, or made that kind of slogan in a sense. He used to preach about that on his YouTube videos and streams. So it is basically saying to you, passive income is the way forward. Okay, that's what it's saying to you. Okay, so that message is telling you that the way to succeed is to have a passive income. Okay, Splinterlands can provide that passive income. Okay, it's not from the fact that you like most of the Filipinos before, what they would do is they would rent out cards for, let's say, a season or on a daily basis. They would get all their cards and they would sell them straight away on the open market. Okay, we don't want people to do that. Okay, we want people to go in, get involved with things that they're probably unsure about, like liquidity pools, which pays you out daily dividends. We want them to get involved with, like, for example, the 80-20 split. So, 80% do what you like, 20% put in the savings account, We want to start introducing those kind of mantras to the Filipino community. The kilo of rice is something that Filipinos can understand, because a kilo of rice is, let's say, 50 peso, $1. Okay, so you spend $1 on a kilo of rice. Every Filipino eats rice. Okay, it's something big in the lifestyle. You know, you don't have eggs for breakfast. You have rice and eggs for breakfast. You know, rice goes with everything. You know, and it helped the local community really understand the dynamics between what we're trying to do. So,
hey, real quickly, Mango. Sorry to interject, but just for some kind of clarified perspective, cost of living, average wages, what does that look like in Kabayag in the Philippines? Yeah.
Average salary is about 7,000 peso per month, which is, well, I think it's gone up it's gone up now, but how much is it now? The minimum wage is wait, I'll calculate it for you now. So PHP to USD, so it's 25. So it's going to be about $5.23 per day. I think
so. A dollar a day is massive.
It's massive, yeah. Of course it is, yeah. And you know, I don't know. Have you ever heard the word utang before? Utang means like credit. Okay, so when you put things on credit, that's something very, very common within the Calbayo non-community. So you know, you would basically put it on utang credit until you get paid your salary. Okay, so we want people to avoid that. We want them to get out of that. That's what TeamPH is about. We don't want you to have utang in the store, because at the end of the day, it's just going to build up to a figure that, you know, you can't pay off, and then you're going to get yourself into debt. We want you to be able to be, you know, we want to put you in a situation where you can pay every day for something, but at the same time, still build a savings account for the future. You know, accumulating assets. Like that's what Splinterlands does. And the great thing about Splinterlands is you can't take it out so easy. You know, you can't just, honestly, I love what they've done with Soulbound. It's got no value right now. But you know, when that gets value, it's going to be worth some cash. You know, all those gold 4 legendaries that you're popping out and stuff like that, they're going to be worth money. But the best thing that Splinterlands has done is that you can't touch that money. You can't touch it. You can't extract that value. You know, once it's maxed out, do you think anyone's going to swap? You know, when it's maxed out, you won't see Filipinos getting rid of their maxed out cards. They'll be like, no, man, we like this. We generate X amount every season. We're good with that. The generation from a weekly reward or season reward is enough. That's passive income enough. You know, you're making that SPS, you're making, you know, all these things. You can go ahead and unstake it and change it up if you want to, but then at least you've got a percentage of assets that you really hold on to. It's all about assets, man. You need to hold on to your asset. And you know, I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, exactly, man. There's the power of holding as well. But you know, like what you're saying, it's so powerful. And I find even like when I was growing up, nobody was, I think it just depends how your family probably view money as well, and the way they deal with money is kind of you learn from them, right? Yeah. And like for me personally, it was like no one talked about saving. It wasn't talked about at school. So like you saying this is fantastic, and people have to learn this for a better future, I feel, and it's definitely something I've adopted. So how did you go about teaching people this? Because saying it is one thing, but actually implementing it, I can't imagine that was an easy task.
No, it wasn't. You know, Splinterlands helped big time, but actually what I used to do for my employees anyway, outside of Splinterlands, is give them like savings accounts. So I was their bank. So it was the Mango Bank. And what I'd do is every salary, I'd say, look, why don't you put back 500 peso, which is the equivalent of $10, let's say. Okay, put it into a savings account and with me, and then we'll do this whole manual signing thing. I'm still doing it to this day with the employees because they don't feel comfortable putting their money in a bank. Okay, that's how Filipinos are. They don't feel comfortable. Okay, and I said, oh, if you need any help with anything, like for example, you know, you can loan from me and then pay it back gradually. You know, so it's not a situation where I'm putting them in a bad situation. I'm actually giving them, you know, ways to win. that's how it started. But my dad was always that guy that says, don't spend what you don't have.
Mm.
Okay, he was that kind of guy. He was a boomer. He was one of those guys that's like, they went over to England. My dad wasn't rich in England, Yeah, okay, he was land rich in Philippines, but he wasn't land rich in England. So they all had to start from scratch. And I often heard the stories of their struggles, paying off mortgages and even groceries on salaries and stuff, and how you made little sidelines here and there. And I loved it. It was very insightful into what you could do, moving forward. And then, I worked myself in England, and my dad forced me to give him some of my salary. Like I started working when I was 18. So I was a bellboy in a hotel, and he would literally at the end of every month like, "Where's my check?" It's like, "Oh man, what check?" It was like, "Where's your check? I want £500." I was like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever, man." So I'd write him out a check. I'd give him the 500, put it in, you know, when I turned 30,
Five
I had
hundred
enough.
pound, man. Like you must have been earning some good money as a bellboy.
Dude, hey, man, you know what? I will never hate on that job. That job is brilliant, man. Seriously, you make,
Wow.
yeah, because I didn't have to touch my salary. You make, you had just as much money as tips. So it
Whoa.
was I started from humble beginnings, man. I really started from the bottom job. It was like the lowest. First job I ever did was clean tables, man. I took chewing gum off tables and stuff, and I complained to my
Mm.
mom. I was like, "Mom, Dad made me take chewing gum off tables." And my mum was like, "What? Why did you make your son do that?" And my dad was like, he wouldn't say nothing, he'd just smile. And then later, over coffee, he would say to me, "I was like, look, man, the reason I did that is so that you would learn how to treat people, so you know how they feel if they're working at the bottom, the bottom, because you always feel privileged, especially when everything's paid for you. You know what I mean? You've got that sense of privilege. And my dad, being who he was that kind of guy that was just like, no, you give as good as you get, and you make, a man isn't based on how much money you have. A man is based on how you live your life. And that's kind of like something that stayed with me. I like to stick to my commitments. I'm not a kind of guy that likes to break commitments. My working ethic, was very strong. I never took a day off. Even after having a fight and having like a black eye and stuff, I'd still roll into work. That was just kind of the way I was, you know, and you know, to teach that to people, or to give that kind of suggestions or advices to people that are willing to listen to you, because that's, Filipinos, once, like I said, are clannish. Once you have that impact, that desired impact, I think it helps because I'm a Filipino too, so it's easier for them to kind of like understand. Like I'm not trying to screw them over in a sense. Um, you can have them do stuff. Like I have people, saying thank you to me, like to this day, like because they've got like my Splinterland, like they've got $500 worth of assets, and they've got 2,000, well, not 2,000. They've got like $500 in liquidity pool just there, paying out daily dividends and stuff like that. If they need that kilo of rice, they can take that little percentage worth 50, worth 50 peso, and they can go buy rice.
Mm.
So you can live by just doing this. It's not about, I mean, the play to earn movement was big. Like there was a big pump, right? So it was like at its highest, and people were making some serious cash, and like I remember buying off my construction worker. He pulled a Dijin Bilshka, back in the day, and I paid him out something like 18,000 peso for that card. Okay, I don't want to know how much it's worth now, but I know it's not worth 18,000 peso. But dude, that was one of my first posts on Peak D. Right, that was back when I was unknown. I was like, this needs to be spoken about. This is cool. This card being worth this much money, you crazy? You know.
Mm.
And then he took that money, but the problem, what he did was he didn't put any in savings, and then he spent it all. He spent it on like a christening or something. I know. I think it was a christening of his baby. I was like, dude, what happened to the 18K? So it's okay. I'll pull another gold for. I said, no, life isn't like that, dude. You need to put some back. So that's why I kind of like, my bank started getting a bit strict. I was like, you can't take out all of it. You have to take out this much, and that's it. And then,
Mm.
yeah, and we're playing that game. You got to be a little bit more autocratic here in terms of how people save their money. If you really care about a person, you'll do it. I care about my community, and like even my specific internal community. I care about every single one of them, and I want to make sure that they're going to be set. I don't want them to come to me and say, "Oh, oh, Mango, can I borrow some money? No, hell no, you can't borrow some money. Use your own money. You should have savings, you
Mm.
know? And that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of mantra that we kind of want to put in place. You know, build for yourself. Don't spend the money you don't have. Live by a passive income. And Splinterlands may not be your main mode of income, but it can help to provide that passive income that you need on a daily basis. You don't need to spend, you know, all of it in one day. Learn how to spend little by little and save for the future. You know, I built Mango on my savings, man. You know, so it was just like, dude, when I look at these guys, they're like older than me or same age as me, and they don't have anything to their name. I'm like, no, there's something wrong here. And I don't want to
Mm.
hear the fact about being born with a silver spoon, because that ain't the case. Like I said, I pulled chewing gum off tables and stuff. You know, that's not living on a silver spoon. You know, so that's the kind of thing that I kind of want to get to them, and it's working. And now
Mm.
from the local community, we've now spread to pretty much, you know, the region, and pretty much from there, you know, we're touching base with people in Manila. You know, we're touching base with people in Cebu. We're touching place, you know, everywhere in the Philippines. We've got somebody that represents them within TeamPH community, and
Mm.
and we're, you know, these advices are going a long way. I treat TeamPH like we represent the voices unheard. I don't know. I think you've seen it on some of my posts, but I always say we represent the voices for those Filipinos that are unheard, the people that won't complain. Filipinos don't complain. Okay, you could talk trash about them all day. They won't complain to you. They'll complain about you, but they won't complain to you. Okay,
Mm.
now we represent those people that say, no, 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 hold on. If you want to talk trash about Filipinos, make sure you've got facts. Okay, now what have you done that's good? You know, that's the kind of people that we are. Level Up classifies me as the dog of war. So basically, if there's a problem, they send me out, and then I basically handle the business. You know, I'm the very vocal one. I'm the one that will say, "And you are? Yeah. What have you done? What have you done for your community? Actually, who are you? I don't even know who you are. I'm that kind of guy. I'm the trash talker and the guy that like starts up stuff. So yeah, you don't want to get on Mango's bad side. I'm all good, but you know, it's don't want to get on Mango's bad side.
Yeah,
don't
I
don't
gotta
make fun
imagine
of the
that's the
Filipino.
that's the South London coming out in you, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't make fun of the you don't say things about Filipinos that are not factual. I think that's very important for people to understand. Everything has to be factual. Don't stereotype. I don't like to stereotype on anybody. You know, unless it's for fun. You know, like I said, like I've got a lot of expat friends and we make fun of each other and in the bar, but that's different. It's fun. Don't stereotype to kind of put a negativity on the Filipino community that's just trying to get somewhere. You know, you talk about extractors. The biggest extractors are the OGs that extract every day. You know, they use bots, they sell them off to Filipinos, and then they rip off Filipinos. There's a situation I'm dealing with, which I'll fill you in off stream, but I'm dealing with something like that, which is basically a Filipino who's on the buy and sell market, you know, and he's just pretty much been messed around by an OG, you know, so much so that the Filipino lost money, you know, and it's like
Mm.
that's not the way that's not the way the cookie crumbles. It should be the other way around. You know what I mean? According to everybody else, it should be the other way around. It's the Filipino that's the extractor, right? But yeah, that's not the way the cookie crumbles in reality. And that's when Mangomayhem steps up and says, "No, no, 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 we don't take that. We don't take that. You can't tell me you're a whale. You can't tell me you're a whale and make me feel like a little bit upset with where I am. No, you can't do that to me. You know, your talk is cheap. You know, you're a cyber keyboard warrior. That's about it." So yeah, that is the South London thing. See, in South London, you've got to grow up like that. If you don't grow up like that, then there's a lot of names that I can't say on this, but that's what you'd be called. So we don't do that. Yeah, but that's TeamPH, man. That's TeamPH in a nutshell. I am the dog of war. I'm I'm released in bad situations, and I also have I also have a lot of passion for my community. I have a lot of passion for the whole Splinterlands community. And you know, I often do giveaways just for the sake of giveaways on SPL TV. I'm always on there. I'm always watching streamers and stuff. Whether you're Filipino or not makes no difference. If you're doing something genuine for the community, then I'm with you 100%. If I can see that you're a little bit of a, you know, arrogant person, as they say, and really more in for self gain, then good luck to you, kind of thing. But like I usually like to associate myself with people with um, positivity vibes, kind of like positive vibes, and kind of like an understanding that in order to share blessings, you get more back if you share your blessings. Remember, I mean, a lot of charity does, removes a multitude of sin. So, I mean, that's something someone really wise told me before. And, I've found that that's the truth, removing that multitude of sin, because everybody sins. But, if that little bit of charity can help on an everyday basis, bring you closer to where you need to go, then why not do it? It comes back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I always remember something someone said, just like don't try and be happy, just try and find the purpose. And I'm not saying you're not happy, but you definitely sound like you guys have got a purpose out there. Like do you feel that you're just getting started with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've, we've been talking about initiatives right now. So right now, one of our biggest focuses, apart from Splinterlands. So, let me fill you in. So Splinterlands, we've just made a curation account. So one of my accounts called Team Philippines is now the curation account. Okay. So that's another outlet that we found that can help the Filipino community to earn a passive income. Also improve in writing skills, because Filipinos don't like to write, especially in English, because they don't feel confident, right? Asians in general are very shy people. Okay, they don't like to, do something that they're not good at. That's why playing games is different, because you don't need to speak any other language. The language is destruction. You need to beat up your opponent. That's about it. But when you're writing, I now have nine Filipinos actively writing on PD.
Oh.
Okay, and it's amazing. They're coming up with this content. There's it's talking about their livelihoods. You look into their life, very inspirational stuff. The wording might not be 100% perfect, but dude, I mean, no one's 100% perfect. You know what I mean? So this curation count helps to upvote them. So this is what it's been built for. And as opposed to that, in order to bring revenue towards those people that invest in TeamPH tokens, okay? So this curation account now has a diamond champion deck attached. So it's one of my decks that I actually gave to, contributed to Team Philippines. So gets redelegated back to my Team Philippines account, and it's going to be played by Damien Wolf. So Damien Wolf has achieved that. He's achieved that deck. He'll be earning 35% of that deck on a seasonal basis, okay? We haven't yet discussed how it's going to be split. We would like him to keep some TeamPH tokens, but like I said, a passive income is better than anything. Just imagine having that income from a game, and then the rest of that is going to be segregated between paying off our stakeholders. So we're looking towards stakeholder dividends already. And then also to power up our curation account, because curation is very, very powerful. And the community in Hive is, look, man, I've had the best experience in Hive. I met a guy called Azicon. Do you know who Azicon is, guys?
By name.
By name. Yeah. This guy, look, he is one of my own personal inspirations for getting more involved and more in tune with Hive. And he lives by principle. He's a principle kind of guy. And he said something really, really wise to me. He said something, fish without bait. Okay, now you can take it to any contract, any context you want. But for me personally, it means, the attraction of your community is organic. You don't need to sugarcoat nothing. Don't sugarcoat anything. Just write how you feel. Just do what you need to do, and you'll automatically bring in that audience. This guy's got a crazy upvote. He upvotes like 10 Hive. Like, I think he's one of the biggest holders of SPS and Hive.
He's a witness, isn't he?
He's a witness, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is also a guy that's been helping out Filipinos, right? Which is unheard and unsaid. I didn't know this until one of TeamPH actually told me. Okay, that's that's one of the reasons why I kind of like touch base with Azicon. But he helps out Filipinos, and he helps out at the moment. Shapoon. He helped out Shapoon, man. But no one hears about that stuff. And that's the kind of guy I kind of want to be, in a sense. Like, I don't want it to be, oh, Mangomayhem put this guy on the map. No, I want it to be TeamPH as a community, uplifted people. It's such a good way of living. You know what I mean? It's like that positivity that you can maintain within the community. I always say to level up, we're 300. We're like 300 with Leonidas. We all put our shields together and we take on anything that comes our way. That's the kind of thing. It's kind of cool. You use that kind of like image of the group of 300, because that's what we are right now. We're a small community and we're fighting. Where we've got a very solid foundation. We've got investors that can put money towards assets and things like that. So we're in a good position. And now it's just about taking that to a next level. So now Hive platform, we're now integrating with a lot of people like Jim Crypto from TH Gaming, Pimp. Who else are we doing with? There's a new project called Astra or something that we're getting involved with. There's all these different projects on Hive, curation projects that we're getting involved with, and a guy called Eco. We just won a diesel pool, so we've got a new diesel pool, which is a diesel pool is a liquidity pool, so it's the TeamPH SPS. So we actually won that from a competition. So and now we're just about putting rewards for people that put money into that liquidity pool. So it's pretty good rewards right now.
What did you have to do to win that competition? Like, how was it voted on or decided?
It was what was it? We had to buy a token called Income. It's called Income Token. Okay, so he's within. We joined this AMA. I was on an AMA yesterday for Pimp, right? So Eco Instant is part of the community of Pimp. So what happened was he kind of made a relationship with Level Up, and then after that we found out about Diesel Pool. You had to put in an entry to why TeamPH requires why they would be the best candidate to be picked for the Diesel Pool, and then voting would be based on income token holders. So I will just let you know ahead of time that we were not going to lose that competition. And I am now in the top 10 holders of income, me personally, Mangomayhem, and all the other investors also have quite a large stake in income tokens. So we weren't about to lose it. Let's put it that way. But then everybody kind of voted. You know what? My thing is, I like to show our community our strength, because they feel more confident when the people in charge or the people in the top are strong. I said openly on Discord, we will not lose this. That's the kind of position that I take in everything in life. We are not going to lose this. It's a great opportunity, whether it's an investment that I take on board or whether the TeamPH board takes on board, we're going to get there. And the good thing is it's so cohesive, man. It's like, for example, if one person says we're doing it, then we all do it. Like, Level Up, me, Min, everybody would just like, yo, bro, we're going to invest in this token. How many do you need? Oh, we need this much. Okay, game. Boom. We just blow it up. And then it's funny because you start seeing community members all dropping in 1 or 2 tokens and stuff like that. So you see it has a ripple effect on all these guys. That's just like, we're following this movement, man. There's one thing that we have, which is the community aspect of things. We go as a unit. We say we're going to raid this platform, we raid it. We're going to raid this, we're going to win this, we're going to do this. That's how it's done. We don't have to tell people twice. We've got an AMA about land Friday at 9 p.m. on Friday, which is talking about the allocation of the land, where all Filipinos are meeting up and going to basically claim one plot, one area, one whole area. And Level Up kind of wants to put a flag on there, but I kind of said to him, no, let's leave the flag for now. But maybe one day, we'll see what happens. But we're just about to do that on Friday. So we do things as a unit. We don't do things individually. Like, we've got people that are skilled in all different areas within TeamPH. Like, I don't think people can really, mess with like Damien Wolf and the whole streaming scene, and streamers are so influential. Podcasters, streamers they're so influential because you never know who's listening. you know. But like I said, I mean, my introduction to the Hive community has always been very positive. I stay out of the Mavs group because of the salty minds. I don't want to be in that kind of environment.
Mm.
However, the majority of people, especially on the Hive ecosystem, like yourselves, I would never have met you if I weren't, you know, really active on Hive, on Peak D, for example, you know? So I feel that the positivity is really within this ecosystem, and Splinterlands is receiving some of that. But the problem is, you know, if you want to talk about Splinterlands stuff, like in Discord, I mean, you can't directly go to the founders, and you have to go through certain chat channels, which unfortunately right now are quite negative. So I don't like to go there, you know, and that's one of the things. But in the Hive community, it's different. Azicon, man, he called Team Philippines a beacon of light for the Hive community.
Mm.
Okay, man, if you want to, like, a guy that's upvoting 10 Hive, I mean, that's really a bonus. But this guy, he's an OG. He has the biggest amount of money probably staked in the game and in the environment. He's calling you know, us, TeamPH, a beacon of light. It means that we're, you know, if you want to break it down, Team Philippines, although we're relatively new, we're going about it the right way. We're guiding our, you know, our group the right way. We're not 100, we're not really that concerned about the monetary aspect of things. It's more about bringing up our community so that they can earn that passive income. You know, gradually is better than anyway. You know, if you do things gradually and organically, you know, you're not rushing things. You don't want to rush into stuff. You know, and that's I feel that's where TeamPH's strength lie, which is in the ability to, you know, we give as good as we get, kind of thing. You know, and we do things. We don't overspend. We don't, you know, we're not going to cry if Splinterlands goes to zero. We're not crying about it. You know, yeah, it's going to hurt. We're going to lose some sleepless nights, but we're not going to cry about it. You know, we're going to move on to the next thing. And that's what TeamPH does. And we're going to do it as a community, and we're going to support those in our community that are having a hard time. You know, we're going to do that. That's what Team Philippines is really about. It's a movement. That's the best way to put it as well. Yeah, guys, that's TeamPH summed up. Sorry, I rant quite a lot. I get really passionate when we talk about stuff like this, man. I'm like, whoa, it's all in your face.
This is honestly, Mango. This is precisely why we were so looking forward to getting you on, man. The passion, it clearly knows no bounds, and I love that it's not a community; it's a movement. That perspective is beautiful, dude. And a second ago, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the ripple effect. You never know who it's going to influence. You never know, you know, that power, the realm of your influence. It knows no bounds, right? Like it's going to ripple across all of Hive, throughout Splinterlands, throughout the local communities. You know, friends of friends. I can only imagine. You know, where TeamPH is going to be this time next year with the kind of strides that you guys are making. I'm really looking forward to kind of watching that journey. And, you know, I think I speak for both Wasco and myself in saying, you know, we want updates, bro. Keep us posted, man.
You're invited. Come over. You're invited, man. Man, you can stay in one of my apartments, bro. It's got aircon. It's got what you need, bro. Come over.
I was going to ask. Oh, sorry. There you go, Ben.
No, go ahead, man.
I was going to ask, like, with you said the expat community is really close. Like, what is that like? Like, what do they do for like earning? Is there like teaching opportunities? Is that the main source that people would do?
Yeah, some of them do online, you know, teaching, but then most of them are retired expats, military. Level Up's a completely different kind of kettle of fish. He's a young guy that came over, got married, you know, tried the business scene and stuff like that. You know, no pension, crypto's his pension. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how he lives. But the majority out here is pension holders, ex-military, yeah, and you know, they just love it here. I mean, you know, besides the women, there's other positive things in the Philippines, you know, like, you know, fresh fruit and
mangoes.
Like a lot of mangoes, dude. Yeah, mangoes is the way forward, man. Mangoes is the way. But,
is that where your name originates from? Just the, you know, the Philippines fondness for mangoes and the, you know, and
You know what?
supposedly one of the best in the world, right?
Well, it is the best in the world. It's not supposedly, it is. Fact, it's Mango fact. Check the Mango dictionary. So, but dude, it's kind of like Mango was destined to be the name of my business in general, anyway, and the name. But I'll tell you how that came about. Okay, so Mango is my two surnames. It's my two family names. Okay, so my family name is Manalo Gomez. Okay, so it's Mango. All right, so that's how it all came up, and like the story behind that is, from good roots. Dude, it goes so deep. It's like, for example, from good roots and a foundation. Okay, right? It really is dependent. It depends how your fruits are going to turn out, whether they're going to be sweet or sour, and that on a mango tree, right? So what do you want? You want your fruits to be sweet, or you want them to be sour? So you better have good roots then. You know what I mean? It's freaking crazy, dude. I've got these murals painted in my bar and stuff like that. But I'm really like that. I'm one of these philosophical dudes because back in England, I was really big into like debating with with I don't know, like in ethics and philosophy and stuff like that. I was really big into that kind of stuff and like going into the whole metaphor, using metaphors and stuff, because you know what, you can really relate that. It's an easy way to kind of like understand really how you're supposed to, well, I can't say how you're supposed to be living your life, or how people would want you to live your life, you know what I mean? And it's really based on what kind of traditions and values and cultures that you have as an individual, you know. Man, I don't want to raise my kids as silver spoon children, you know what I mean? I want them to live it the hard way, and I understand what my dad did to me, because man, if my dad didn't do that to me, I could be like a drug lord right now, or some kind of kingpin, you know. I don't know, because I wouldn't know the value of of living. I wouldn't know the value of working hard for money. You know, it's and then when you get in this situation, instead of being boastful about it, you want to help people. My transition to the Philippines, dude, I've done so many charitable things. If you go on my Facebook, if you're ever on Facebook, dude, I was part of the Rotary Club. I was part of the Greater Chamber of Commerce. I still am Greater Chamber of Commerce. Then you've got the whole Splinterlands community service aspect that I do here. I do stuff for my barangay, like I help out the local school. I donate to them. Like for example, they'll tell me, "Oh, we need we need some new desks." So or paint to paint the classrooms and stuff. And I'd actually send my workers, and even me, we'll go and paint a classroom. I'll be like, "Yo, we'll offer you support here. Here's the paint, and we'll do it." You got free labor. You know what I mean? And it was cool because my employees get in their mind that even they have to do community service. They have to share their blessings. They have to give back. It's kind of the way it should be. When you receive some kind of blessing, you give back, and it's very common within the Filipino culture to always help people, to give back to those less fortunate. I'm not even less fortunate, just to give back in general. It doesn't matter whether you're less fortunate or not. It's like passing. What do they call that? Pay it forward. That kind of. And that's the kind of thing that I'm really driven by. That paying it forward. Like if I have a good day in the bar, then I want to take my guys out, or I want to do something that's because next week is going to be better. If you live by that mindset, that you always have to look to do something positive. Obviously, you don't put yourself in the red. But at the same time, you can do a lot more when you're in a country like this, especially when you've got, you've worked in England, you've got the education, you've got the knowledge from a first world country. You've got a lot of things, a lot of ideas that you can implement in a developing country. Then you have a bit more of an idea about budgeting, about getting things off the ground without putting your both feet into the water. You've got those kind of aspects of things, and those are the things that we really, as TeamPH, want to teach our community. We want to give them access to, and it's been working, and it's such a fun journey. I mean, I will never take fun away from the word of this journey. It is blowing up. Like Team Philippines is everywhere right now. I mean, it's getting noticed by a lot of the prominent people within the Splinterlands community and within the Hive community. And, it's just more motivating we could be big-headed about it, but we don't want to be. That's just not the mantra that we want to tell to our community. We don't want to do that. We want to go in with positive vibes. We just want to go in there and say, look, everybody's in. Let's all get our even share a piece of the pie. Let's all get our piece of the pie. Why do we have to fight for the bigger piece? Why can't we just all have an even piece? So yeah,
Beautiful.
that's TeamPH, man.
I love it, bro. I keep coming back to it's such a powerful shift in perspective. It's not necessarily TeamPH. It's like the movement of TeamPH is such a big, profound thing. And it's you guys are doing stuff in the local community. I love that you're like, shifting your laborers over to the schools to help, facilitate and pay it forward to the next generation and empower those kids to grow up and have that shift in philosophy to, you're just lighting that spark to continue that cycle. Right. And, whether it feels like Splinterlands is purely a platform for this movement, right? It's just another way to help these people and the local community as a whole to push things to the next echelon, right? And Peaked is another good example. You guys setting up that curation trail is brilliant, and it's such a great way to earn additional income in addition to leveling up your own skill set, right? A lot of folks who may not speak English as a native language, which is most folks, outside of the English speaking world, being able to have that on your resume and, who knows what those skills are going to unlock for you, right? Being able, working from a Peaked blog and getting that sort of notoriety and growth and developing a following, that can go a long way just for the person's confidence, right? You guys are literally changing lives as the movement of TeamPH. And I just want to, Wascal, I know you had something to say. I just want to quickly acknowledge, the power of what you guys are doing is bloody brilliant, man. I love it. Big ups to you guys for what you guys are doing down there, man.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I think it's just listening to these stories. It's just kind of very inspirational, man. And you mentioned before about a ripple effect. I think, people listening to this, it just will show people what is possible, right? Like you were showing TeamPH. I know it's not just you, but like you're the dog of war, so to speak. That's why people will probably hear you. But by seeing it being done by yourselves, hopefully, man, the ripples are going to be so positive down the line, right?
Yeah, we've seen some crazy, we've seen some crazy things, and it's all good. We've seen some really big changes in people in general, how they value their assets, how they do stuff like that. We've found some really influential people within our own community with different skill sets. Like, for example, I've got guys now that are active in Discord that are good with, for example, the digital setup of articles and things like that, like maybe going on 3Speak and doing stuff like that. So these are the things that we're kind of honing in on. Anything that somebody brings a certain skill set to the table that we can kind of use to kind of develop the whole TeamPH movement in a sense, it will develop, it will strengthen the foundation. That's really what this is about. It's about thriving together. We're going to do this as one. Fine. Investors wise is down to two hands. But those investors are able to provide the initiatives of everybody else while bringing in passive incomes at the same time. And it's not I, it's we. And that's, I try to refer to we as much as possible, because it's it's great being charitable on your own, but man, it's less fun. You know what I mean? It's really less fun. I mean, I'm more of an extrovert. I like hanging out with people, man. So at the end of the day, if you can help people, in a community, you've got a wider reach. So it's kind of the way we kind of want to go. We want to help as many people as possible, but we're not going to help you unless we've got a strong foundation. We don't want to help you with something that's going to crumble after 2 weeks. We want to help you with a good platform that's going to say, you know what, guys, here we go. If you support TeamPH, we have our own token available, so it's on the market. So if you want to help TeamPH in terms of buying the tokens and stuff, that Hive goes into buying Splinterlands assets. Those Splinterlands assets goes towards our players. Our players start earning passive income. That kind of whole thing everything is built for a reason. Everything built to complement the ecosystem. Nothing is built to extract the value from the ecosystem. If they want peso, they get the peso from me, Mr. Mangomayhem. That's okay. But don't extract it from the ecosystem that we're actually trying to support, and we're making waves in here. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to put some negativity. If you've got that kind of outlook, get out. We don't want you. Get out the kitchen. I would have said something else, but like Gordon Ramsay would say. But I'm gonna PG tip it. So I'm gonna say
we could read between the lines, brother. We could read between the lines.
But I've said it to people. I've said it to a couple of people. I'm like, look, if you don't believe in what we're trying to do here, this isn't about self-value. Okay, if this was about self-value, I'd be cool, but this isn't about that. This is about helping other people. So get out of the kitchen, I would say. and I'm, like I said, when the Dog of War comes out, I mean, there's no holds barred, man. I mean, we're in a decentralized platform. You can't tell me how I live my life on here. You know what I mean? I live my life how I wish to live my life. But if you don't follow in the movement of TeamPH, why are you here? So
is there anything that we have missed that you'd like to kind of let people tell people about, like how to get hold of you and how to kind of get involved? Or
we've got a Discord channel. I'll share that with you, so perhaps you can put that onto the article that you do afterwards. I'll share the Discord. We've got a token, TeamPH, which is actively available. What it does is the tokens will start paying out dividends from at the end of this season, will pay out its first dividends to the top 10 staked TeamPH holders. So the thing that you need to know is what we do is our token is staked for 5 years. Okay, so this is crazy for some people to understand, to comprehend, right? But the reason for the staking of 5 years is because when you unstake TeamPH tokens, you're receiving that passive income every day, right? So it comes out. So when you unstake from let's say like SPS, you get it every week they'll release 25%, right? So in TeamPH token, every day they're going to release a very small percentage every day, which is the equivalent of the passive income that you need, depending on how many tokens you have, that you can go and spend on whatever you need. You see, that's the passiveness that we're trying to, that's the passive income flow that we're trying to capture, or try to motivate, or try to train and teach our guys. You don't need it all. You only need this little bit. This is all you need to afford for your daily, your daily expenses. The rest of it, save it. Because if TeamPH token 10x's or 20x's or something like that, dude, you're not just having 1 kilo of rice, you're having 10 kilos of rice a day, So, but yeah, you can find us on Discord. We're there. We stream, Level Up streams on Facebook. I stream on Facebook. We don't stream on Splinterlands TV. I particularly don't stream on Splinterlands TV. Number one, when there was a time of, I feel that there's better streamers out there that represent our community well. Secondly, I don't like being capped on what I say. So that's why if you wish to see Mango unfold, it's definitely on the Facebook platform. I will be on Twitch, but we'll probably be on our own channel. Like I said, capping is not something I believe in. I think people should be free to speak their minds. Whatever it may be, they should be free to speak.
When can we catch you on Facebook?
Whenever, wherever, man. Whenever there's time. I'm that kind of guy, dude. I'm just like, I'm going to stream today. I feel like raging on the game. Okay, so I'll stream here. And there's always fun giveaways on my streams. I always try to give back to my community, or to our community. Really good giveaways and opportunities that you can earn, in a sense. We support Splinterlands 100%. So we're not about extracting value. So, if you're looking to make big money, then probably, don't come see us right now, because, you probably need to invest more than you're getting out, because that's how we do. Right now we're in the accumulation phase of assets. We just finished up a champion deck, which cost, I think it was about $4,000. Yeah. So I just literally finished that, and that's getting delegated to Damien Wolf today. So,
cheers, Damien Wolf.
Man, he deserves it, bro. Look what he
Oh yeah.
does. I mean, the thing that he does is so powerful. Okay, what you guys do is so powerful, and it's sometimes, people don't understand because they don't do. Okay, and the thing is, the one thing I don't like is people commenting when they don't do. What you guys do is one of the most powerful things in the ecosystem because you're actively getting out there to people that like to listen. You inspire people. Damien Wolf has the exact same thing. Damien Wolf he's idolized by the Filipino community because he was the number one Filipino streamer, you know? And dude, you talk about Damien Wolf, and if you ask him about TeamPH, he's got nothing bad to say about TeamPH. It's all I am TeamPH. We want to grow within TeamPH. And just imagine getting these guys. We don't, of course, we've met in person and stuff like that, but like we've only met once in person. The rest of the interaction has been video call, stuff like that. So just to get them on the same buzz as you, I mean, that's a crazy thing, man. It's really like, yeah, we're like this, this is how we do our thing. This is how we're representing our community, and come and join us. So yeah, you can catch me on stream whenever, wherever. Level Up's also wherever, whenever, wherever. But yeah, we're usually streaming on Facebook. So if you want to know more details about anything that we do, it's always going to be in our Discord. So I'll pop you the link across for the Discord.
Yeah, we'll definitely toss that in the Peaked article. But real quick, man, and while this is on my mind, the curation trail, you guys within the last week or two officially launched, right? And exciting stuff. And I know that I think it was Level Up Life that penned the article or whoever it was. I think it's Level Up Life that has offered to match any HP delegations up to the first 5,000. So I have to assume that that's a pretty significant way to help immediately support what you guys are trying to grow over there. Is that right?
That's correct. Actually, we've actually calculated it. Our vision is to get one Hive upvote power. So in order to get that, we need 21,000 HP. So we're gonna get there. I mean, like I said, we say what we're gonna do, or we do what we're gonna say. In a sense, we live by that thing. So Level Up right now, I mean, he's very crypto heavy. We're all okay, but he's extremely crypto heavy. He's one of the OG guys that's been around a while, and yeah, he's matching anyone that delegates power to the TeamPH curation trail. He's going to double that amount in the curation trail. So he's that kind of guy. And Beautiful. Right now, I think we're boasting about for almost 5,000. I think we're boasting right now on the thing. It's got quite. Man, and I'm always uploading, that thing man.
Grew some quick legs, bro. Having just launched. Nice.
Most of the stuff that we push out, it really, we do it as quick as possible, and we it gets utilized as quick as possible. Like me, I'm the person that takes care of the curation trail. So, if you've got any decent articles that you want me to post, like I'm always uploading yours, right now because I feel it's very valuable to our community. So, if you've got anything that you feel is relevant or anything that you feel is a really good article, I'm the kind of person that will read things, so I don't just upvote for the sake of upvoting. I read stuff. I like to listen to things and read things properly, and if it's a great article, I'll comment, and you'll see a nice little upvote from Team Philippines.
Really beautiful, bro. Dude, I gotta say, that I'm so glad that we were able to make this conversation happen, dude. I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on and talk shop with everything that TeamPH represents and what the dog of war, kind of pulling down the veil and giving the people a sneak peek behind who you are and what makes you tick, and kind of the upbringing that you had, and kudos to your parents for raising. What everything that it sounds like you guys are trying to put forward through, this philosophy that you've kind of grown to, put forward into the world. But I gotta say, dude, when Splinterlands was born, and we've been fortunate enough to have both Aggie and Yaba on the show, and we made sure to kind of ask specifically about the origin of the game. Yeah, it's a fun game. but the profound philosophy, the founding philosophy was peace, prosperity, and freedom. And
Yes.
I've got to say that TeamPH and everything that you guys are representing, that's what this game was born for, bro. And you know, it's no surprise that when Splinterfest 2.0, you know, started getting whispered through the grapevine that the Philippines was kind of top of mind for potential landing spots for the upcoming festival whenever that happens. You know, initially before I had a chance, you know, immediately on the heels of the original Splinterfest, you know, I know Wasco and myself were feeling a bit of FOMO and watching from afar and like, oh, I wish we could, you know, partake and, you know, all the cool people there. And selfishly, I wanted the next one to be in Asia, and Philippines felt like a good fit. But the more that I've gotten to know you guys, the conversation with Damien Wolf, the conversation with you, I want that for the Philippines community. It's just a beautiful coincidence that I happen to be a quick Cebu Pacific flight from there, and 100% I will be in attendance. But yeah, man, I'm blown away with what TeamPH is doing. I've got to say, I love the harmony between the movement of TeamPH with the founding philosophies of Splinterlands from Yaba and Agrod. And yeah, dude, just thank you for what you're doing, and keep fighting the good fight, bro. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think you know, I think that's why I'm still in this project. Personally speaking, I'm in this project because I do believe in what the founders are doing. You know, everybody, there's always going to be salt there because people, you know, they don't understand the business aspect of things. Okay, Splinterlands has to stay afloat. It needs to stay alive. It needs to survive. Okay, so there's going to be things that are going to cause a little bit of negativity, a little bit of spur. Look, I play in champion. My rewards are reduced. You know, things are getting a little bit more expensive. You know, because you got a FOMO into buying packs and all this stuff and blah blah blah. But you're helping the community, man. You're helping this to stay afloat. If we don't keep this afloat, you know, I mean, you could be as salty as you want. You could be the biggest salty bear in the world, but are you really putting in that much money? Are you really keeping this business afloat on your own, or is it a community based thing? I'm pretty much sure. Do you remember when Agrod said about his 401k? He cashed it out, and then, you know, I mean, come on, dude, who does that? If you don't believe yourself in a project, why would you do that? You know. But yeah, salty bears out there. You know, a nice little message for you is, you know, you do you. You know, let Splinterlands do them because they've stayed afloat long enough. They don't need you know, your advices.
Get out the kitchen, bro. Get out the kitchen.
With the, you know, the PG tip version. Get out the kitchen, dude. But yeah, thank you for having me on. Look, I really appreciate this. I felt really comfortable talking to you guys. You know, it's been a great experience. I don't tend to do stuff like this. It's very new for me, but you know, I'm definitely open to talking about what we're doing in TeamPH. So if you've got any other future questions or anything, you know, if you want to redo this, you know, on another time, then just let me know. You know, and if you want to come to Carbio, man, you're more than welcome to. You know, I've got your room with your name on it. You know, I got some PG tips for you, Wasco. So you know, I got some Yorkshires and PG tips, man. So you know, I don't have any crumpets though. I don't have any crumpets.
Well, my family's more of a Yorkshire tea, to be honest. But I veered away from that. Coffee is my thing. So if like, it seems like you're into your coffee, so
coffee and tea.
I'll be there.
No, tea at night, because tea at night, but definitely coffee. Coffee's the way forward. You've got some good coffee there too in Taiwan, so that's good stuff.
Yeah.
But
oh,
yeah,
no,
anytime you want to come over.
Man, the invitation is accepted. Would love to. I'd love to pop over sometime, man. But honestly, man, I said before, it's really inspirational to hear these stories and the stories that have to be told as well. I think, you know, you're giving people the tools that are gonna set them up for the future as well. I think, like you said, if Splinterlands, you know, were to kind of just disappear, I feel that the team PH definitely wouldn't, because you're kind of giving people these tools that are going to just help them, you know,
yeah, we all find different
lives.
outlets. Yeah, we always find different outlets to help people. But you know, right now, I mean, the digital scene, the Web3 kind of feel, it fits more with the generation, like with my generation specifically, and probably with yours. You know, it fits with our generation, and you know, we can help more people if we really are in tune and interested in the platform that we're using. You know, you can do as much charitable good as you want, but you know, you do more if you enjoy it and you're more interested in how you do it. You know, like I said, I play this game and I understand the potential. I appreciate the earnings that I get every season. You know, so at the end of the day, why not give it to the community? Why not expose them to the same thing? Take away their barriers of entry in terms of holding assets by giving them starter up assets and let them build on a gradual basis, you know, and earn passively. I mean, I think that's just brilliant. I think, you know, that's why me and Level Up and Merlin, we really, you know, so cohesive. It's just amazing. It's like, well, you know, if we want to do something, we all do it. We all jump. You know, it's not a situation where, oh no, we'll just let one guy take all the, you know, let him take accountability for something. No, we're not like that. We're like, yeah, we'll all do it. You know, and that's why, you know, we have our board meetings and we've got a lot of initiatives coming up. I mean, if you read my post, you'll see some of the initiatives up and coming. We've all got some great ideas, but we don't want to put ideas that we can't do. We want things that are logical and within reason, you know, and that's how we do that's how we do our business.
Yeah. Well, and also, man, definitely we want to have you back on, man, and just, you know, hear what you guys are having. No, it's been great, just, you know, just hooking up with you and, you know, listening to that South London twang. Haven't heard that for a while, so it's been good. All right, guys. All right, guys, for all of you out there, you have been listening to
The People's Guild.